Hey everybody, welcome to the YouTube only live stream here on Prop Queen Media. I hope that you guys will all tune in to the YouTube streams as we are going to talk now about the NFL sides that we could take advantage of in the props market. Let me just tweet out a link real quick because hopefully we could get some people here on the YouTube stream. I don't know how this is going to work. It's my first time just streaming to YouTube. So far, no viewers. So let's get... I guess I should get the memo out to people that we are on the YouTube page. But we're going to talk some NFL props for this upcoming Sunday. And there are some props that really stood out to me on the board, starting with Sunday at 1 o'clock. We've got the Jets and the Dolphins going head-to-head. So Tyrod Taylor over his rushing yards is intriguing. 24.5. Miami's allowed the second most rushing yards per game to quarterbacks. Breece Hall over 63.5 rushing yards. Miami's allowed the fifth most rushing yards per game to running backs. And Mason Taylor over 24.5 receiving yards. Miami fifth most receiving yards per game allowed to tight ends. Some other props that really stood out to me. New Orleans is taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Baker Mayfield went under his 30.5 pass attempts prop. He went under this in all three home wins this year. He had 29, 23, and 28 pass attempts against teams at home in a win. And New Orleans, second least pass attempts per game allowed. I just want to get a little bit. Let me see if I could get some more people to join via, let's see if I could get the YouTube memo out. I should have had a little graphic that kind of like showed that we were going live on YouTube. But I guess, let's just say, let's post live now exclusively to YouTube. Live now exclusively on YouTube, talking early NFL lines, NFL props. Get ahead of. Subscribe now. Okay. Let's see if that helps a little bit. Sorry, thanks for 3 people watching. Hi, Mark. Hi, Lewis Creech. I just wanted to get ahead of some of these lines for you guys. Baker Mayfield under 30.5 pass attempts. I just talked about that. What else? Trevor Lawrence over his 31.5 pass attempts. He's gone over this in 3 of 4, averaging just over 36 pass attempts. The average, 34 pass attempts in 6 home games this year for Trevor Lawrence. The Colts have allowed the most pass attempts per game at just over 38. 9 of the last 10 quarterbacks have gone over their pass attempt prop against the Colts. Because the Colts also are playing with a banged up Daniel Jones under center, this game could be close. It's only a 1.5 point spread. So to have Trevor Lawrence throwing the football a lot, over 31.5 pass attempts for Trevor Lawrence. I looked at some of his overs for his passing yards as well, but against bottom 10 pass Ds, his completions prop 21.5. He only went over that in 2 of 4 against teams that are bottom 10 against the pass. Passing yards prop 219.5. And he only went over that in 2 of 4. The one that he went over the most, Trevor Lawrence, was his pass attempt prop, where he went over 31.5 in 3 of the 4. So the pass attempt prop definitely stood out the most. Jacksonville's tight end, Brenton Strange, over 39.5 receiving yards. Strange went over in 2 of 3 at home this year, 59, 61, and 22 receiving yards. The Colts have allowed the second most receiving yards per game to tight ends at just over 72 yards a game. So Brenton Strange definitely also stands out to me at 39.5 receiving yards. The other trend that people aren't picking up on is Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor, 94.5 rushing yards. So I'm going to pull up props.cash real quick. And let's see, props.cash. That's NBA. I'm going to show you guys the home road splits for Jonathan Taylor that are like very drastic. So when you look at Jonathan Taylor, that's Jacksonville, at home, he's averaging 129 rushing yards a game. Then you go to Jonathan Taylor on the road, he's averaging 75 rushing yards a game. And the book's just not accounting for it. This number at 94.5 is way too high. So he's gone under this in 4 of 5 road games this year. Jacksonville, Jonathan Taylor in Jacksonville, 77, 54, and 19 rushing yards. The Jags least rushing yards per game allowed to running backs. So it would take the under rushing yards for Jonathan Taylor. I was looking at some Lamar Jackson stuff because the Steelers have been terrible against the pass. But Lamar, he hasn't faced any bottom 10 pass D yet. And even last year when Lamar faced the bottom 10 pass D, he ended up going over in 0 of his completions, 0 pass attempts. I mean, it was just, or 1 pass attempt he went over prop, but Lamar I can't trust. I would go for a longest reception prop, though. A trend that really stood out was Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely, the Ravens tight end, over 15.5 yards, longest reception. He went over in 4 straight against Pittsburgh with 27, 42, 19, and 25-yard catches. In 3 of 4 at home against Pittsburgh, Isaiah Likely went over. 5 straight home divisional games for Likely, he went over. 61% of tight ends went over the longest reception prop against the Steelers, so I would definitely keep a close eye on Isaiah Likely this week, while all the attention has been on Mark Andrews signing that extension. And then Baltimore's wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, over 11.5 yards for his longest catch. Pittsburgh's allowed the most receiving yards per game to wide receivers. He had a 41 and 15-yard catch at home against the other 2 AFC North opponents. Over in 5 of 7 home games this year, averaging just under 19 yards per longest catch, DeAndre Hopkins. So I would definitely be looking over there. Josh Allen for the game for Buffalo against Cincinnati. I mentioned this in the live stream earlier. I liked Josh Allen last week, but the reason I got screwed was because he sucks on the road. Josh Allen's much better at home this year. He's averaging 276 passing yards a game at home, going over his passing yard prop in 4 of 6. Against Cincinnati, Josh Allen, 264 and 258 passing yards. He's gone over in 2 of 3 matchups this year against teams that are bottom 10 against the pass. And the 2 of 3 that he went over were the home games, Tampa and Baltimore. He had 317 and 394. Against Pittsburgh, that was on the road. He only had 123. Cincinnati, 4th most passing yards per game allowed at 265. 83% of quarterbacks went over their passing yard prop against Cincinnati. Let's see. Jordan Love over 9.5 rushing yards against Chicago. He's gone over this in 4 of 6 at home this year, averaging 14 rushing yards a game. Chicago, 3rd most rushing yards per game allowed to quarterbacks at 24.5. 58% of quarterbacks have gone over their rushing yard prop against Chicago. And lastly, Woody Marks, under 50.5 rushing yards, the running back for the Houston Texans, going up against Kansas City, averaging just under 34 rushing yards with CJ Stroud, just over 60 without him, and under in 5 of 6 road games for Woody Marks this year. Kansas City, 5th least rushing yards per game allowed to running backs. 64% of running backs went under their rushing yard prop against the Chiefs. So those are some of the props that I like the most going into Sunday. Having an early look. Oh, I have 2 streams going on at once. Oh, yeah, no, that's correct. One is the YouTube mobile stream. Mark is correct. One is for YouTube digital and like for the computer, and the other one is YouTube for the phone. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. That was just an early little preview, a quick preview going into this Sunday in the NFL. It was my first time just doing a YouTube stream. Usually I'm on X as well, but I know it was my first time. We can't judge a first time try, but good luck to everybody for tonight and for this weekend ahead. I will be back on the live stream tomorrow talking all props going into the weekend and some NBA.